Hi, this is Chantel talking about college algebra. We're in section 2.2 and this is extra credit. This is doing the equation of a circle with the general form. So we're taking an equation and putting it into the general form, and we have to use completing the square to do this, which is fairly challenging for a lot of people. So it isn't required, but it is something that will help you if you continue on with math. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is review how we complete the square. So if we have an x squared term and an x term, we need another term here so that we complete a perfect square. So what we want is something that is a perfect square when we factor it. So half of 12 squared is going to give us 6 squared is 36. And if you factor this, what you get is x plus 6 and x plus 6, which is just x plus 6 squared. So that's the whole point of completing the square. We're trying to find a perfect square, binomial. So the way you do it is you take half of the x term and square it. All right, so let's try that again. So this one is y squared. It doesn't matter if it's x or y. The variable is y this time. So you want to take half of the y term in this case. So that's 5 halves, and you want to square it. So I'll just write that out this time to make it more clear. 5 halves squared. So that means what this looks like is y squared minus 5y plus, when you square a fraction, you want to square the top and square the bottom. Okay, so that's what this looks like as a perfect square. So if we were to factor it, we would get y minus 5 halves times y minus 5 halves, which is just y minus 5 halves, the whole quantity squared. So that's why this is a perfect square trinomial. Okay. So next we're going to talk about using this skill to play around with the general form of the equation of a circle. So the general form is a little bit messy. It is this part right here. So if the center is HK and the radius is R, this is the information that you need. D in this equation is going to be negative of 2h, E is going to be negative of 2k, and F is going to be this thing you see down here. So this isn't a super useful equation for some things, but for other things it is. And so we're going to look at taking this, because it's not very useful. I can't look at this and easily see the center and the radius. So it's easier to take this and put it into standard form. So this is general form. We would like it to be in standard form so we can find the center and the radius. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is rearrange this so that the x squared and the x term, the 8x, are side by side. And then we're going to leave a blank. So we're going to say plus blank. And then we have the y term, y squared. The y terms are going to be together. So y squared and then plus 2y. Just be careful with all your signs. Plus blank. And we want to take the 8, the one that's just a constant term, to the other side. So we're going to add 8 to both sides and we get equals 8. Okay, so now I'm seeing that my graph is kind of in the way here. I'm going to scoot it over. All right, so now I need to add a couple of blanks here next to the 8 because we're going to be filling in the blanks on the left and we need to add to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to change colors so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take half, we're going to complete the square for the x's here, and then we're going to complete the square for the y's here. And when we do that, we have to add to both sides. So half of 8x, half of 8 is 4. Square that is 16. So I'm going to add 16 right here, and I'm going to add 16 to the other side. All right, looking at the y part of it, half of 2 is 1, squared is 1, and so I'm going to add 1 to the other side. Okay, so now we're going to put this into the standard form of a circle. So x squared plus 8x plus 16 is just x plus 4 squared. And the y portion is y plus 1 squared. And if you don't remember that part, you might want to go back and look at the review in the book about how to, the form of a perfect square trinomial, like I just looked at at the beginning of the review. Okay, so when you add these things together, you're going to get 25. 8 plus 16 plus 1 is 25. Okay, so now all of a sudden, this looks like a standard form of an equation. So if this was x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, we can see that h then must equal negative 4, k must equal negative 1, and r equals the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay, so now we have that the center hk is negative 4, negative 1, and the radius is 5. So if we were going to graph this, we would make hk the center is where you want to start. So you want to go to negative 4, negative 1, and we're going to put a point there. And then the radius is going to be 5, so I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an edge right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they did that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've counted on every side, and then I'm going to draw probably an ugly circle, but here you go. All right. So that's our circle. So we just took the general form of the equation of a circle and we converted it to the standard form so that we could get the information that we needed out of it. Okay, pause there if you need to stare at that. And then I'm going to move on and do another example. So this is number 52 out of the back of the book. So I just have 2 examples and then I'm going to have you do a check it out. Okay. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to rearrange it so that it's a little easier to see what goes with what. So x squared plus 4x, and we want to leave a blank, plus y squared minus 2y, make sure you get your signs right, plus blank equals, and remember we want to get the 7 over to the other side, equals, and we're going to add 7, so we get 7. Don't forget your other blanks because we need to add to both sides. All right, again, I'll change colors so you can see what I'm doing. Half of 4x, half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4, and I want to add 4 to both sides. Half of 2 with the y is 1. Squared is 1, so we add 1 to both sides. Okay, so now for the x squared plus 4x plus 4, we're going to factor that into a perfect square, and that is x plus 2 squared plus, and then the y section we're going to do as well, and it's a minus here, so don't forget that. We've got y minus 1 squared. And the reason, don't forget that you get a positive up here for the, right here, the positive here comes from the fact that you say negative 1 times negative 1 gives you a positive 1. Okay, so we're going to continue on the right side. We get 7 plus 4 plus 1 gives us 12. Okay, so in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, we have h equals negative 2, k equals 1, and r equals the square root of 12. Okay, and you can go ahead and simplify that. So remember, this is 4 times 3. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 3. So r equals 2 square root of 3. Okay, so this one you can graph as well if you want to. So hk is negative 2. Sorry, let me write hk for you. hk equals negative 2, 1. So to graph it, we would have negative 2 and positive 1. So that would be here. Nope, that would not be there. That would be negative 2, positive 1 right here. And then the radius is going to be 2 square root of 3, which I did not work out. I know that square root of 12 is between 3 and 4 because it's between square root of 9 and square root of 16, which is 3 and 4. So since my graph isn't very exact, I'm just going to make it kind of like 3 and a little bit extra. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and it's probably, I don't know, right in here. 1, 2, 3, and a little extra. I'm going to do that in every direction. And then draw a circle. Okay. So pause there if you want to look at anything that I did. And now we're going to go on to a check it out. So I'm going to pause here and have you answer this in the Edpuzzle. You can't show me your graph, but I will show you what it should look like. Just write your answer and put it in standard form for yourself. I want to know what hk equals and what r equals. So it asks you to find the coordinates of the center of the circle and find its radius. So I'd like you to say hk equals blank. So tell me what that is and tell me what the radius equals. All right, good luck. So here's the answer to the check it out. And you should have gotten the following: center, negative 1, 3, and with a radius of 4. So to get full credit for this assignment, you need to not only turn in the Edpuzzle for this, but you also need to turn in to me by next week, number 49. The answer is in the back of the book, so show me all of your work. You need to write it in standard form, find the coordinates for the center, and find the radius, and sketch the circle for full credit. All right, good luck.